And all of that, and then Heather told me yesterday, and then I would just said after about an hour, yeah, so we're done with it. That's what happens. So Heather's mother is keeping me. Yes, now I have fun. I don't want to be. Where? Oh, the Baptist. They're still here. Well, the air, we exercise Friday. Oh, man.
The shower's okay?
Shower's okay. Shower's great, and then faucet works great. And now it's like, okay. It just made 2 seconds and it's full.
How's it going? Good, everything? Good. Good to see you guys. This is a good day. Every day's a good day.
So are you doing the pictures?
I'm doing the preaching today.
Good morning. Introduce our guest here. Now, Earl, the prayer room. If anyone needs Earl, he's going to go up to the prayer room here in just a few minutes. So if you need to avail yourself of that, go ahead. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker. The old joke in the Church of Christ is there's about 4 degrees of separation in everybody in the Church of Christ, sometimes less than that. But this is David Harper. We worshiped with him in Concord Road for years. Our boys played ball together, went to school together. And I went to Lipscomb. We were with his younger brother. We were both county majors, so we've got a lot of interaction. But David has been married to a very patient woman for 42 years. It's Cheryl. They got 2 sons. They live. Harper lives south of Nashville. David has been connected either teaching or working with World Bible School for 27 years. For 5 years, he's been on their staff. He's the Tennessee coordinator for the state for World Bible School. He's done 6 trips to Africa, and he's been to Zambia and done a lot of work in the prisons. You can imagine what that might look like. In or out of the prison in Zambia, but done a lot of work there, and he is the deacon in charge of mission at Concord Road now also in that dual role. So with that, I will hand it over to David.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me good? Okay.
Wonderful to be here with you today. I appreciate your elders allowing me this time this morning, and we've had a good time with the Whitfields. We stayed at the Mary Margaret Bed and Breakfast last night, and man, what a view. Lee told me I had to go home, so I could stay another day or two, but our friendship does go back a couple of decades with our boys, and it's just good to be here with them, and I appreciate them, Lee, making it possible for me to come here today. How many of you are familiar with World Bible School? Okay, great. All right. Well, as Lee said, I have been a teacher and a coordinator at Concord Road for 26, 27 years. I came on staff 5 years ago for the state of Tennessee. I was a Medicare benefits advisor with Cigna. I was tired of doing that, and this opportunity came open, and thrilled to be a part of it. World Bible School basically changed my spiritual outlook when I started studying with folks, and when I made my first trip to Zambia in 2007. I have served as an elder at Concord Road and been in those budget meetings where you look at where you're going to disperse your funds. And I truly believe, as one elder that we currently have at Concord Road says, you get more bang for your buck with World Bible School than you do any other ministries. And there's a lot of great ones out there that we're a part of, that I've been able to be a part of. But just thrilled to share with you today. We're going to act like this is an introductory lesson into World Bible School, because it has changed quite a bit over the last few years. COVID has put a whammy on our program. For 2 years, we were not able to send mail correspondence around the world. It shut down our program at Concord Road. But in that, we developed what's called Ocean Bridge, which I will go into more detail in a moment. And it has literally been a godsend to help us pick up where we left off earlier on. First, though, I want to read Mark 1:17, okay? And this is the account of Jesus calling the first disciples, and it starts in verse 16. Jesus called his first disciples. Passing along the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, the brother of Simon, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." And immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going a little further, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, who were in their boat, mending their nets. And immediately he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired servants and followed him. And if you just go the next page over, the end of Matthew, we have what's called the Great Commission. And I understand we're going to have a lesson this morning on that, which is wonderful. And it reads like this. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age." Well, we're all familiar with that passage. At what levels do we take it? You know, it varies in different congregations. But as I travel the state, there's a bit of a crisis among the church. COVID's left a lot of people at home. There's not a congregation I go see that they're not affected by it one way or another, where they've lost some members who just didn't come back. And I unfortunately see a lot of congregations that are dwindling in size. And, it's time to put the red flag up and all hands on deck to evangelize like we're called to do anyways. And we have great tools to help do that with you here, okay? So I'm going to introduce this. I hopefully will leave about 5 minutes if you have questions at the end. And then whatever your leaders decide to do with World Bible School, we can come back and discuss it further in detail. When we bring a congregation on board with our tools, we have an onboarding session. We are funded by congregations and individuals About 30% of our funds that come in, and we have a $4.2 million budget, comes from congregations, the other 70% from individuals. But when a congregation comes with us, or as what I've been doing a lot the last 2 years, we restart a congregation. We identify where they want to work, and we have an onboarding session with those who will be involved with it. So I hope to be back down here to help you in the future, okay? We have people become fishers of men. This is Jimmy Lovell. Jimmy Lovell was born in Portland, Tennessee. He went to work for DuPont. He had a great skill at firearms, the flintlock, black powder type. DuPont used him to kind of promote that. He was a great salesman. He moved out to California. He sold the explosives to the different companies that built Boulder Dam. So he ended up in California, but his real love was sharing the gospel around the world. This is a longer story than I got time to explain, but the family on the left are from Nigeria. That's Eaosian. He was searching for the truth, couldn't find it in the denominational world back in the 50s in Nigeria. Lawrence Avenue, which is now Concord Road, Lawrence Avenue in Nashville, has started a program to share Bible lessons with their boys that were overseas fighting in the war. Long story short, he got our lessons from Lawrence Avenue, and when the first white preachers were sent over to Nigeria, they found about 10,000 souls that were practicing New Testament Christianity. So it does grow on its own, okay? Interesting story on that. Jimmy, we officially got our start in 1973 as Jimmy came out with the Action magazine. There's this crazy story that he started an article in Nigeria. Anybody who wants to study lessons for free, send it back to me. He got bags and bags of mail, but he really didn't have anybody, any lessons to use, so he started using Lawrence Avenues at that early date. But our goal is to share Jesus with the world by motivating and equipping a global network of Christians to use interactive Bible studies effectively. We rely on teachers within congregations to help us share the gospel around the world. Okay, and you had the old net system on the first slide. Now this is a modern day one, and I love to fish, so I said, well, I could have, put in that. You could have used me in that slide right there, but most of us know that's not really how you fish unless you're trying to catch some bait fish. But since 1973, we have studied with over 40 million people at World Bible School around the world. We never charge a cent for the lessons that people study from. That cost is all taken care of through our partners, individuals and congregations, but 40 million since 1973. That's Jimmy. He's at some event. That from those that I've talked to, I never met him. He passed before I was around. That's the kind of excitement that he continually had. And he's at some function there, obviously. But our new theme is 50 Forward. We just completed our 50th year, so we're into the next 50 years with World Bible School. Different ways to teach. We have the postal that's been around since the inception, okay? We have Ocean Bridge, which I'll explain a little bit more later. We have online studies. Anybody in the world can study with us with the online program. We have Connect also, where you can connect in different locations and have people come there and study with them. And then we have Methodist, which is geared towards the younger generations. It's a great program. In 2023, we had, you can see there, almost 730,000 new students. In 2018, prior to COVID, we were at 1.3 million students. And then for those 2 years, I mean, the mail system in these third world countries is not good. Some of them have not even come back. Malawi was a country that we were studying in at Concord Road. I mailed about 600 lessons a year ago. they're still not there. South Africa, I've been told they've shut down their postal service. Okay, so we're on the way back, thanks to the Lord and Ocean Bridge. Postal correspondence. This is a teacher at Campbell Street down in Jackson, Tennessee. We have a lot of congregations who work with their local jail systems, okay? They work with the prisons. They're all different in each county, in each city. We have a jail program at Concord Road that I've been a part of in Williamson County. They won't let us bring anything in that we don't take out. We can't leave a lesson, but it's different in every county. You may have a jail ministry here, but Campbell Street in Jackson, they still use the postal in lots of prisons throughout the country. This is our master series. And before I go any further, I got a table down here where I'm going to leave the lessons we have down there. I've also got a couple of magazines that I thought I've left up here. I guess I didn't. We have our catalog that has everything I'm going over with you today. Please take that. I don't want to take these home. And we also have an action magazine that just came out that gives you real life stories of things that have happened throughout the country. But, and if you use QR codes, there's some up here. It's a good way. And in the catalog, it's got QR codes where you can go to each different program and get more information. But the 7 lessons in the Master Series, they shine scripture light on the basics of God, His Son, His gospel of grace, His church, and His new life. That very first one, the way to life, I left a couple of them down here. It's a very basic. You could sit down with somebody that's familiar with the Bible, and you can have a study with them right there in that, okay? Each lesson has a series of questions. The new life has 20 basic questions. The rest of them either have 50 or 100. Simple, you just hand them to them, let them study them, come back, sit down, go over the answers with them. Ocean Bridge, that's Tim Yeager, the smiley guy there. He's with his congregation in Birmingham. We at Concord Road, we have partners in Zambia, Malawi, and even before COVID, we had a scanner in their locations where they would get the lesson sheets and they would copy and scan it back to us. That way it saved the cost of postal and it saved months of travel time too. So we were already kind of on our way with that. Well, with Ocean Bridge, it's two-way scanning. And Tim came up with a name. It's basically from the continent of the U.S. to Africa, okay? We started in Africa. We work in a lot of other countries, India, the Philippines. If we had a pile of money, we'd expand Ocean Bridge just all over the world. But it's just a fancy name for a scanning program. And this is great. I didn't know my slide would do this. Students receive the lessons, they study them, they grade them, and then they give them to a courier. Like Lee said, I've been to Africa 6 times. They are really resilient people. They find a way to get things done. So it might go on a courier with a bicycle. They might put it on a bus. The lessons get to them one way or another. It goes to a service center that World Bible School has set up. These people in the service center are staff members. They're paid by World Bible School. They will scan and send the lessons back to the U.S. They actually go to Cedar Park, Texas, where our home office is. Sherry Hayes, who has been with us 20 years, she organizes those lessons, send them to the congregation. It's in a OneDrive. You just print the lessons out, you distribute them, grade them, and then you scan and send them back to her, and she sends them to the service centers, and the next lesson goes to them. To mail these lessons before COVID, and now it's the same now, is about $15 a pound. Concord Road, we have hundreds and hundreds of students, probably a couple thousand. I mailed our last lessons back in January. We saved that cost there. The lessons are printed in those countries. And we're finding out in certain countries we can print those lessons as affordable and the same quality as we do in the U.S., and we don't pay that cost to ship them over there. But that's Ocean Bridge in a nutshell. When we had this slide created, we had 40 active congregations. We're now up to close to 60, whereas 3 years ago, it was Concord Road and Mayfair down in Alabama. We've grown that much, and I'm very happy to say this is our youth group at Concord Road. We've had them for about 4 years. We'll bring them in about every 6 weeks, and we'll have them grade lessons. And they've got so proficient at it that I don't have to explain it to them. The seniors teach the juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and once that class graduates, there's somebody there that knows how to do this. That's Dave Beasley, the guy in the black shirt. He's our coordinator. I co-coordinate with him, younger than me, and then Cody Perry, our youth minister there. It's a great time. These kids are actually sharing the gospel, okay? And this has been replicated all around the country. I tell the kids, we usually have a message before it, and I will tell them, we'll share like a Methodist lesson I'll talk about in a minute. And I'll tell them, I say, now when you get in the car, if your mom and dad ask you what you studied tonight, and they should, you tell them you shared Jesus with a prisoner over in Zambia, or you shared Jesus with a high school student over in Ghana. These kids love doing these lessons. And sometimes we kind of get overloaded with lessons. Sometimes it's feast or famine, and they help us kind of get out of a jam when they do that. But really proud of these kids. We had 61,543 new students with the Ocean Bridge in 2023. I expect next year, if Jesus doesn't come before then, that number will probably be 3 times higher than that next year. We're in Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, Zambia, dear to my heart, Zimbabwe, and we've since gone into South Africa, and we hope to open one in Malawi soon. It cost us about $75,000 to open a service center in these countries. We have to secure a building. You have to have a staff, and they don't make money anywhere like we do here. It has to be a secure place because they'll steal the stuff. Had to keep a guard there. But it's about $75,000, $80,000 to open one of those. I'm proud to say that Concord Road opened the first one in Ghana. I raised the money for the second one, the one in Zambia. But we hope to have other service centers open soon. The good thing for congregations about this is you have boots on the ground. You have representatives that are doing the legwork for you, and you don't have to pay a salary to them, because the ones who work in these offices, they're going to do the follow-up. When someone wants to be baptized, they're going to get back with us, and we're going to do our very best to find somebody that will go and baptize them. So you don't have to pay somebody in another country, and having been involved with missions for 30 years, you don't ever know what they're doing until you go over there and you meet with them. But you've got people working for you, and it's all built in the cost of the lessons. Online correspondence. The online is huge in India. We don't have enough money to advertise there without it being snapped up. A Google click costs so much. And when we put it on Google or whatever you call, the proper term, they're snapped up like that. People want to study. Big in India. People can study on their computer, their laptop. You can download the apps on your phone. There's the WBS Lite app. Anybody familiar with WhatsApp? Okay. I communicate with our guys on WhatsApp. I think it works better than anything we got here as far as clarity. But these folks in Africa or around the world, they can download a Bible from World Bible School on WhatsApp, and they can download the lessons and study that way also. My first trip to Africa in 2007, I was amazed how many people who literally lived under a tree who had a cell phone, okay? They were going to have their cell phones. My wife would thrive over there because she would She loves her cell phone. We got the car leave. She said, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone?" I said, "Well, we're going anyways," but she had it. But everybody had a cell phone, and they would buy what they call talk time. A guy stands on the corner, or a girl, and they sell these little scratch-off things. You put the numbers in, and that's how you get your time. Now, they've sophisticated much more than that now. But these programs have been funded by our partners here in the U.S., and people can download the Bible, and they can study if they want to as well. For these individuals to go in, internet's not available in so many places. We think everybody's got it. Well, they have to go into a internet cafe, and they have to pay time to do that, and they don't have money to do that, okay? So we made it available in this manner. We had 167,000 new students last year on our online program. Our biggest number of students comes from the United States, which is very encouraging. We're evangelizing the world, and we have got to start evangelizing our own country. And we know that, we see that. Unfortunately, students in the U.S. don't have the desire, the hunger that some people around the world who have nothing, but we're growing in that aspect. We know 275 online baptisms last year. That's the ones we know of, okay? Some other stats, 432 new study helpers in 2023, 92 new congregations, and we have thousands of students waiting for somebody to study with them right now. The online studies is more of an individual thing. Any congregation can get a group together. You can study together. You can make it a fellowship deal, but it's pretty much for those who just want to do, when they can at home. We have thousands of students right now waiting for somebody to study the Bible with them. We can't say that here in the U.S., I'm amazed when I go to Africa. I mean, they're lined up for you to study with them. So there's no excuse for us here in the U.S. to say, well, I don't know who to study with. Well, you can go to World Bible School and you can start studying with somebody tomorrow. The information I'm going to leave you, it's got the QR code. You just click on it. We do have a little application process where they do vet you a little bit, okay? But you can start studying next week. We have tutorials on a regular basis that you can be a part of on Zoom calls, and we also have a library of training materials as well for that. I don't do any online because I have so many postal students. I have hundreds and hundreds of students, so I've got plenty to do there, but students are waiting. There's your QR code right there. Become a study helper. Okay? It's in the magazines down here. I'll let you do. Connect, web targets. We have a program where we can set you up a connection online. There used to be a cost to this. We no longer have it, where you can choose a location. If you have a missionary that you help in India or Panama or Philippines or whatever, and you want to help study with him, you can get your little circle in a whatever radius of miles you want to choose and drive people there. I'm going to show you some information that can help you with that, but you can help study with them. You can see it's pretty concentrated in the U.S., in Nashville. It's really saturated. I mean, if there's a student that comes on there, there might be 200 teachers that grab them real quick. And if you look, it's pretty red down here in the Chattanooga area as well. But it's a customized link to share with your community. There's collateral that you can have that if you want to do a serious door-to-door campaign or you want to carry it with you, and when somebody wants to study, you can set that up. You got cards, different things like this. You got to put some effort into it. Okay. If you don't advertise and let people know it's there, you might be twiddling your thumbs wanting to know where the folks are. But that number I showed you earlier are people around the world. They all speak English. Okay. We give the women the opportunity that if you want a female teacher, you have that. It's safe and secure. Of all the years I've been doing this, I've not heard of anybody that was compromised. Our high school students, when they put their name, we have their first name and HS, okay? But material to help you with that. You get notified when students are added to your student board. Methodist, this is a great tool. This was developed about 5 years ago. It is a series of lessons that are designed for the younger generations. When we go to the high school, I might show one of these lessons. They all start with like 5 to 6 minute video, and it has discussion questions after that, like, why does God allow evil in this world? If we can't answer that question, we're in big trouble. Okay? Because that's the number one excuse people have. Well, how can you worship a God that allows evil in this world? And this is a great tool here to study with your kids here, high school, middle school. I actually taught it in the young professionals. It was they're a little bit above that, but nonetheless taught it there. But it's great if you're a grandparent, you've got kids growing up, you want to sit down and study with them. They got to have some kind of visual experience. It's not like the way most of us work. But high quality videos, 5 or 6 minutes long. And then once you go through that, there's discussion questions. People can start groups, studies with it. We've got 3 catalogs. I had 2 of them. I'm going to leave them down there on the counter. Wondering what to believe, in need of a Savior, seeking the family of God. You can create it on your phone. Use it in your Bible class, small group study, family Bible study. I wished I'd have had this when Cheryl and I have 2 boys. I wished I'd have had it when they were growing up, because I personally was not equipped to study with them like I should, and that's my fault. But Methodist is a great tool, and there's no cost to it. You can start your own group. Young folks can start their own group, studies within their friends. Lee was telling me about how in Hamilton County you can take Bibles and have a Bible teacher in the schools, which is wonderful. I forgot to say early on, this is kind of a homecoming for me. Our family lived in Red Bank until I was in the 4th grade. So we moved to south of Nashville. So I grew up in Red Bank. Methodist is a great tool. There's a QR code there. I got it on my phone. It's a great personal study, okay? If you want to be informed on how to answer the questions our young people are having, and I think they're having them, we often complain too much, at least where I'm from, that nobody wants to study the Bible. Well, these young people are looking for some truth. I think they've seen enough hypocrisy and garbage that they are looking for the truth somewhere, and these lessons here will help you do that. Okay, I'm about to wrap up. Become fishers of men. We need folks to give to World Bible School. I don't know if it's $5 a month. That'd be great. If this congregation sent $50 a month, it'll be well used, okay? We have a campaign we're going into that we're in our 50th year. We hope to recruit 500 churches to get involved with the program either way. We have congregations who have teaching programs and they are contributors to us. We have some that are teaching only. We have some that are giving only. We hope to recruit 5,000 more individuals to give $550 or $500 a month. And that is my presentation. I went through that quicker than I thought I would. Any questions?
Is this an outreach from the Church of Christ?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. Our headquarters is in Cedar Park, Texas. Jimmy Lovell grew up in the Portland Church of Christ. So, yes, it is. Okay. And our teachers, the ones who craft these lessons, John Reese, he's on the board at Harding. He grew up in the country of Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. He was involved with World Bible School for decades. He recently retired, and he's president emeritus. Brian Davis, who was his father, East Brainerd. Do they have a school at East Brainerd?
Well, I don't know about the school. I'm Brian Davis.
You know Brian Davis? Okay, that's his dad. Brian grew up in that school. Brian calls himself Brian Rex Davis. I still don't know the difference. Okay, and I met the dad, but these are the guys who lead World Bible School. Sound material, The lessons I've sent down here, left down here, we have advanced studies that are great for the classroom, like the history of the church, lessons on prayer, on miracles, on the Holy Spirit, just really good classroom material if you can study from printed text, which most all of us in here can. Sometimes we hear, this is really kind of old-fashioned. Well, it's not old-fashioned. It's just you got to read, okay? But yes, ma'am. It's not a visual thing, where it changes every week or so. But yeah, our board members are all the church, and so with that. But Brian Davis is our new president. I think he had a hand up first.
Talk to us a little bit more about your Connect campaign.
Mm-hmm.
If you can quite understand the bubbles and everything, how that works, and I guess there's a cost for the church.
No, there's really not. There used to be. And we have people that help you get this started. I'm not the one that does that. At Conquer Road, we had a Connect campaign right in Brentwood, Tennessee around us, okay? We never got any students because Creve Hall had one or Barry's Chapel had one. It was saturated, all right? So Dave Beasley, and this is about 7 or 8 years ago, he and I went to a gathering that Bill Caldwell at World Bible School put on. This is before I came on the staff. And Dave said, why don't we choose an area like Las Vegas? I said, okay, that makes sense. And why don't we get Chicago? We saw there was nothing there. Well, we had more students than we could study right out of the gate. So you can choose an area. You can choose this area. And if you campaign with some of the materials, and you might get people in this area. But I'm thinking as I looked at that, it's the darker the red, the more saturated it is.
Do you advertise on the internet or
You can, yes. Yes, you can. And you can do, print some collateral, hand it out to folks, do whatever you want to do. You got to get out and advertise and do a little effort with that. Or you can you can choose an area in the United States where there's no Connect program, or anywhere around the world. If they speak English and they got access to the internet and you've got teachers, then you can get connected to them. And we'll give you, if that's something you're interested in, we'll make sure you have more material on that. But when you get the catalog down here, if you'll look at that, it'll tell you specifics. Our website's very good about instructing things like that. Who's next? Yes, sir.
It's back before COVID, when the World English Institute came and spoke to us, so there's probably several of us that did that for a little while, but it's advertised online.
Yeah.
And not as a Bible first. Right? They try to pull people in
Okay.
who want to study English. When people find this online Bible school, it's advertised strictly as the Bible.
Yes.
Okay.
Free of charge.
Okay. So, to me, that's a benefit because there's a lot of people that you can select, particularly students from the World English Institute. Muslims, one here. Yeah. And you would select them, you'd grade their first lesson, and I always had I'd send them a note or whatever. But I'd tell them right off the bat, I hope that we get to study the Bible together. And most of the time when you said that, they were gone.
Yeah.
So this is a lot different.
That brings up a good point. With our Ocean Bridge, with the printed lessons overseas, for so many years, our referrals, if any of you here in sales or you're medical, referrals are the lifeblood of your business. For me in insurance, they were my lifeblood. We get referrals, and say you got 50 referrals. Well, majority of those referrals, they might not want to study. Somebody just put their name down. So we were wasting time and lessons. But with the Ocean Bridge, we first study with them with that introductory lesson. We go into areas, and we're trying to go into prisons and schools, because over there in Africa, they are all about. When I go to Zambia and I go to prisons, and I have been to probably 100 different visits in prisons, you go into the warden first, and he or she are very thankful that you're there. They believe this is part of the rehabilitation program. But your leads, your students you get in the Ocean Bridge, they're what I call, in the insurance world, you had cold leads, you have warm leads, hot leads. These are hot leads because they know they're studying. They've already done the introductory lesson. And
They've taken the effort. to
yes,
do it.
they want to study the
So-
next.
So you know for a fact.
Yeah.
They're invested in it.
Yes, and so what that means is your retention rate is much better and hopefully conversion rate will be better. So you're saving money, you're saving time because people who want to study with you. It's a good question. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have churches, like, okay, say they do the Connect campaign, and maybe they support a congregation like El Salvador, do churches, is that how they set up their?
Yeah, that'd be
Connect
great.
campaign?
Yeah, you could do the same thing. You know, they got to speak English because we're English and we're in Brazil. We
You don't
have,
have other languages.
no, I wish we did, but it's so cost prohibitive. But yeah, you could set up one there and support a missionary there.
I was gonna ask that, so when Steve was talking about the Connect stuff, so if you select an area that's outside of your reach, are you paying somebody to?
Or resend it.
No, well, because these are online, you're doing everything online. Yeah, there's no need of it, okay?
Well, I didn't know if, like, you were
Yeah.
talking about if we were in a local area, you would print stuff out and you might.
Well, if you want to be successful, you can't do a Connect program here if you don't put some work into it.
That's why I'm asking how we would work physically in other areas.
Well, if you have a missionary you're supporting there, you say, look,
Okay.
we at Signal Mountain, we want to help support you. You go find some people who you know want to study the Bible, and we'll do this online with them, okay? It's a great tool to help get you involved with the people you're supporting financially, and you can get your high school involved with it, your junior high. You know, everybody gets involved in evangelism.
Do they, sorry.
Go ahead.
But like on a Wednesday night, like if some churches take a Wednesday night, like we
Yeah.
don't have services tonight, we're all gonna
Yeah.
hunker down and grade these.
Campbell Street does that on Wednesday nights, okay? Trenton Crossing up in Clarksville, most of their teachers are retired, so they come during the day. You can do whatever you want to do. The programs that work the best, they have a coordinator. The women are the best coordinators. They just are. And they just keep things organized, okay? But you can do it any way that you want to. With
Like, you may
regards.
not have to grade lessons once a week, you might
Yeah,
do it,
yeah.
like you were talking about with the youth group.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have hundreds of students, and it's never bogged me down. And there's at times when we were doing the postal where, you know, I might get 150 lessons at once.
Because
Yeah.
everything's just coming in.
Yeah, but you know, I'm thrilled to be studying with them, you know?
What if theoretically my best friend attends the Baptist church?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, that's really cool, I would like to be involved in that. Are you guys open?
Yeah, we don't mind studying with the Baptists.
No, not
No.
studying.
Oh, to study with you.
Like, what if she wanted to do one of the online and have students?
We don't care.
Okay.
I mean, they would ask some questions, you know, I don't even know what the questions are, but yes, you know.
You're using the material.
You're studying the Bible.
The first question isn't, are you a member of the Church of Christ?
I don't think it does
You
that.
know, okay, I'm gonna-
It might be, I don't think so. But your friend might learn something from these lessons.
I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, that's a good
Grew
question.
up in the Church of Christ. And it didn't used to be that way,
Oh, I know,
you know?
I know. I know.
It was,
My dad was an elder, my grandfather was an elder. I've grown up, I know how we can be,
yeah.
okay? But we just study the Bible. We don't advertise we're a Church of Christ. You won't find in these lessons the Church of Christ. When I first started doing online, I took all those online and wanted paper lessons. I sent my little introductory, is that me? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I sent a little,
Move it up too close to your chin.
okay. I sent a little introductory lesson, letter, because Ruth Orr taught me that, my mentor from Lewisburg, and I put Church of Christ in there. Man, I didn't get any back hardly. I thought maybe I don't need to put that in there because we're just studying the Bible.
That's right.
So you can do whatever you want to like that.
David, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the lessons will lead you down the path of salvation,
Right.
our 7 steps, baptism at the end. I mean,
And that's a good point. Like it's even earlier in the way, the first lesson. If somebody's been studying, they're thinking, they just got a thought, well, they got baptized after they heard this message at Pentecost. You can lead people right there. But these are great tools. I mean, this is good news, which is like the third lesson. I left them out there. You can order all you want. It's a great material to just hand out to neighbors. I mean, it will take them through it. We have Bibles. I've left them on the counter down there. We have New King James. We had ESV and Crossway, the publisher, had a problem with our stance on baptism, wanted us to take it out. They would not renew our contract. So we're not changing that. So we're about to come out with one with NASB. Okay? But New King James is still great. And it's got our lessons in the back. You could take this Bible and we give them to construction workers that were remodeling stuff at Concord Road. Those of you who are working in Hamilton County, if you can leave a Bible, it's got our lessons in the back. You can send that Bible to somebody and you don't have to have the fear of them, reading a commentary says, just ask Jesus in your heart and you're safe. Okay? I don't believe that's how it happens. Okay? You can give that Bible with confidence that they're going to follow the steps of salvation. Yeah. Great questions.
How many different languages of Bibles?
There's a French Bible. We need a Spanish, but we're working on the second English one. So, but great questions. You got any more? Sir? I think I heard the bell. I guess I'm done. But man, I just so believe in this program. Last month, Concord Road, we're in about 10 prisons in Zambia. When I started in 2007 going there, we had 2 prisons. We're now in about 10, and I go into every one of them. We had 7, 12, and 14 baptisms in 3 different prisons. We will have double-digit baptisms each month from our teachers. And the look on people's faces when they get an answer sheet back that says, I want to be baptized. Because so many of us have not led somebody to Christ. That's worth so much to me to keep doing this. So program works great. I'll be glad to help in any other way I can. I like staying at Lee and Mary Margaret's, Y'all want me to come back later on? If they'll let me come to their house, I'll stay in here. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have women prisons?
We do. Fortunately, there's not as many women in prison over there. The numbers are really few, but we try to work with them, yes. I've seen them. There's just like a handful of women in prison, yeah. It's not like over here. Okay, the kids want to come in. Thank you so much. Take the material down there, okay?